Looking back at the weekend that was, it's 14 after the hour 6. Victor Hlongwane. Mr. Hlongwane is here. We call him the principal. He's going to be looking at the refereeing decisions over the weekend and making a pronouncement on whether they were spot on or maybe they just weren't. He needs to let us know and finish it clear here and now. And of course, as well as a super journal, making up the third of the three wise men. A lot to talk about as far as in the news as well. The principal.
Reperle to the listeners.
What's your content?
We'll go to Chiefs Amazulu. There was mass confrontation in that match. The same thing happened to Stellenbosch in Supersport. There was mass confrontation where players come together to some put petrol, some tranquilize the situation.
I've got a feeling that after this weekend, we should see another referee get suspended.
You are only as good as your last match. You just have to keep focus.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
I've never seen a penalty given for a goalkeeper brushing a striker's head.
That's what I think. That's what I'm saying. That I think there's going to be issues here, but we'll get into that one there. You know, what happened in that instance from Davik's point of view, and on Soccer Zone later, we'll show it as well. So 10 o'clock on SABC1, we'll show it as well, visually as to what we're talking about. What do you have?
I've got a lot of content, Andile. I've got separate content for Metro FM. I've got separate content for Soccer Zone.
Hey, man, now, what do you have for us here?
Here I've got Coach Ncube reflecting on the support for Brendan Petersen, who's come under a lot of criticism, surprisingly, even though he's helped Kaizer Chiefs in the last couple of games. Well, they didn't keep clean sheets, but it could have been more than.
So Mulifinsik has come out in support.
He's come out in support. We've got an update regarding Amazulu and the hunt for a technical director. We thought
much needed.
Yeah, much needed, given what's happening at the moment. We'll touch on that. And then we'll also hear from Lyle Foster. He spoke after he scored his first Premier League goal when Burnley unfortunately lost to Aston Villa.
16 after the hour 6. Let's get into it. The weekend that was. It's 086 000 2160 at 18:45. Taking your calls on the weekend that was. WhatsApp on 060 552 7303. The comeback of Liverpool. I see you. Lily Ginzab was saying, "Hey, did you see Liverpool?" Yeah. No one cares. No one cares, Mlu. No one cares. Let's go straight into it. Some of the big news over the weekend. Max Verstappen winning his home Grand Prix. But I just wonder about that car. And I'd love to hear from you, enthusiasts, those that love the Formula One. When you see him go, when he decides he's putting foot down, be it on a straight or even maybe around some of the corners, does that car just not look a little too fast? Even his partner can't catch up with him. But here's the F1 with Max Verstappen's win.
It's a great weekend for me to come to. I mean, it's honestly, it's great to see all the fans next to the track, and it's also an amazing track to drive. You know, so all of those things together makes it, a fun weekend. But of course, it's always a bit more relaxing to win it more comfortably.
Well, congratulations to him once again. We look forward now to the next one. I think it's Belgium coming up next. So that's what we look forward to. Let's move on now to athletics. Wade van Niekerk. I said this last week and I keep saying it. I wonder if he looks back at that incident and says to himself, why did I play touch rugby? It has been downhill since that day there. But I mean, he's tried to come back. A man who was once selected by his own performances as the next big star after Usain Bolt, at the moment can't even place. Here's Wade van Niekerk about his disappointment at his own performance. We don't have that? Okay, we don't have a clip for that one there. But Sean Masonga, you do have that? Well, here he is about his disappointment on being disqualified. This is a man that's been trained by one of the best in the world. He is South African. He was in the country just a week or two ago. He's now gone to the World Champs. He was disqualified. Carl Lewis's mentor, or mentee rather, had this to say.
I feel like we started off pretty well. My exchange with Benji went pretty solid. From what I've seen, I think they just missed the timing of Clarence just putting a hand out and just putting it in. We're not too mad at ourselves. We know we have the talent, we have the potential, and like we say, we always say it's all about execution. And unfortunately, today was not our day. We felt confident, from the warm up. The practice was going well. We only managed to squeeze in 3 practices coming into the championship, but we did the best we could. And I'm not mad at the guys. After all, we've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes, and it's all about how you bounce back.
And the Springboks, let's go there. What a match from them. I mean, I could hear my neighbors scream from top of their lungs throughout that. I was watching that with football at the same time. Yeah?
Give them the World Cup title already.
I don't know about that. The New Zealand team wounded, but I'm sure come the World Cup in it's a matter of time now. It's just a couple of days that we're counting. South Africa is going to go into the favourite. Jacques Nienaber, this is his reaction to the win against the All Blacks.
Good to build momentum. Obviously, after the test match we had against New Zealand, we had to adjust a couple of our things, and we made some plans. Players come with some good suggestions, and the management and coaches came with some suggestions, and we find some solutions. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work. It was an opportunity to prepare us to go into the World Cup, and that's it.
A big match over the weekend in the boxing ring. Daniel Dubois taking on Alexander Usyk. And, it's come out that he's very unhappy with the result there. Below the belt, over the belt was a big conversation over the weekend. A huge trend all around the world for one of the fights that was one of the most awaited fights. This is Daniel Dubois on he feels cheated.
I feel like I've been cheated out of a great win. I've seen it, I've looked at it, and, I was there, I threw the shot and I felt it land perfectly. Smack into his stomach. We need to go over this and look at this properly and, get justice, get a rematch, get something to happen. He couldn't move, he weren't going to make it in time, he was out. That should have been a knockout. And I think, that this needs to, go further, it needs to be pushed, and this wrong needs to be corrected, because I should be a world champion right now.
He should be a world champion right now. If you saw that matchup, if you've seen that, if you haven't, just go to Google or even on X. What is it called now? It's X now. On X, which was former Twitter, and look up that incident and then let us know what you think. Was it below the belt? Was it over the belt? Did it land perfectly? What are your thoughts on that one? Let's move on now to Premier League football. I'm talking about the DStv Premiership here. Coach's reaction from the weekend. Gavin Hunt on his win over Stillies.
Big on that, ingraining the team. It's not about how you play football sometimes, it's about, how you get results. But we played some good football tonight at times under difficult conditions. So yes, I know how to do these things, but you need the players to buy in, and they're buying in, and we've got a new team again, a lot of new players.
Jose Riviero of Orlando Pirates speaking on the goals.
The goal is the promised land in football, is what we are looking for, and when you are in dynamics where you are not scoring and you are creating but the ball is not going to the net, then everything is much more difficult, because we start to, like I said also a few days ago, these narratives around the team that is not scoring and this player is not scoring, and that's an extra pressure. We have to deal with it, no problem. But now it seems that we are more lucky in front of the goal.
They've scored 5 goals, of course, in the league, and they've scored 5 goals in African competition as well, here with Orlando Pirates. And I'm pretty sure the player that he's speaking about there is Zakele Lepasa, who's on fire at the moment. What are your thoughts on that? Let's go to Kaizer Chiefs now. Molefe Nteki on the win over AmaZulu.
And I think today we started the game on a high in terms of respecting and observing the critical phases of the game. We scored very early, which was good for us to settle as a team. And secondly, when you look at how we conceded last week, it was also very early in the second half. And also the belief in our players to say we can make it. So hopefully we have now settled the nerves, and going forward we'll be giving our best, our A game in all the games that we have to play.
What did you think of Kaizer Chiefs' performance? Yes, they won. They scored 3 goals. They didn't concede any. Pule Modi with the 2 goals there. You've got Stiletto showing up as well. But when you look at the position, they had 31% of the position, which means they didn't have much of the ball. But is that the way forward? Peter Musimela used to say, what is position? You can keep it if you're not doing anything with it. And I remember that when he played, particularly Dan Smelasela at Chippa United, he'd say he can keep the ball. Kaizer Chiefs, Kaizer Chiefs had 31% of it compared to 69% that of AmaZulu. And you look at the shots as well. The shots off target, 6 for AmaZulu, 4 for Kaizer Chiefs. On target, 4 for Kaizer Chiefs. And I guess that's what counts, because 3 of those 4 went in. What did you make of the performance? Not necessarily the win. Yes, the win was great and was much needed by Amakosi, but what did you make of the performance? Lastly, let's go to Premier League now, out in the UK. Jurgen Klopp speaking on the performance of Liverpool.
In my more than 1,000 games I coached or managed, whatever you want to say, I never had a game like this. That's the truth. Not that we never turned games, we did that, but with 10 men in an atmosphere like this, against an opponent like this, no, I don't. Not only that, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure it never happened, because these moments are rare and super special. But I thought the boys deserved it today, because with 10 men we played better and gave Newcastle a proper game before.
24 after the hour 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. Lau Foster, he's made history. He's joining the top 8, now becoming a top 9 of South Africans that have scored in the Premier League. Name the other 8. No, don't look at your phone.
No,
Don't
but
look at
I
your
had to
phone.
write it down.
No, who are the other 8?
Benny McCarthy.
Benny McCarthy.
Stephen Pienaar.
Yep.
OJ Mabizela. Philemon Masinga. Sean Bartlett.
Victor, you can help.
El Rio van Heerden.
No, don't look at your phone.
Quentin Fortune.
And Mark Fish, isn't it?
Mark Fish and
Sean
Eric
Bartlett?
Tinkler. Yeah, I already mentioned.
Oh,
Sean
and
Bartlett.
Eric Tinkler.
I mentioned all the strikers. I just needed to now find the midfielders here.
So that's the 9.
9
Carlisle Foster scoring a goal. Brilliant. Here it is.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, glory to God. I'm super happy. I'm super special. Yeah, it doesn't feel as nice not winning, but yeah, happy to have scored the first goal back in the Prem. I'm 100% confident. To be fair, I've got all the confidence in the group, in the players, in the staff.
25 after the hour 6. That's Lyle Foster there speaking about his goal. Let's take a break. When we come back, the 3 wise men kick in. It's Victor and Mazola. If you missed it over the weekend, Kaizer Chiefs beat AmaZulu by 3-0. Well, here it is. Enjoy.
Out tap bola ke kwa 2-0 Khune number 13 Modi ya ka dibing Khune
Bana Chiefs karakatsaleko pula mari gape tsane tshirete ba raga zamro mamoswana anebe ne feli motwa ule Modi Ormela tshalo entsinga wa tsa ormela betsana ka ditini tlhogo karakatsaleko Edson Castillo gape la mashoka para pula bonaro papa tumarite ka speshana AmaZulu goal number 2 Edson Castillo nanga pizana hoa shenhlekile shentima kubatela 3 Kaizer Chiefs not Pansha AmaZulu.
It's 28 after the hour 6. I mean, when you look at the DStv Premiership table, really, I mean, it makes for very sore reading for a Cape Town side that's lingering at the bottom. They've only scored 1 goal in their 4 matches, conceding 7 goals, and have not won a single game, have Cape Town Spurs. We'll go into detail about this Cape Town Spurs team on Soccer Zone this evening. We'll take a look at it and tear it apart. Has it got anything to do with the fact that, you know, they had to do the playoffs? Is that why we should be getting rid of the playoff system? Because it does not help the team that eventually gets promoted. Doesn't help them get ready. Doesn't help them to get into the shopping on time. We'll get into that and so much more. Richards Bay as well with a single point after 4 matches. But when you look at the top, Sundowns with 15. SuperSport United might have a game in hand, but they're 5 points behind at the moment. Kaizer Chiefs, they won their first game. They're sitting on 4 points in 11th. Orlando Pirates, when you go find them on the table, though, you'll see that, I mean, at the moment, with 3 games, 2 games to play, anything has still changed for them. You can find them within the top 3 sides, but at the moment, they are sitting in 10th position as well. SuperSport United, TS Galaxy compete the top 3. Mazal, what do you have first?
Let's start with AmaZulu, another team that's currently struggling at the moment. But the latest developments is that, you remember that position they advertised, sporting director / director of football? Well, it's ongoing again now. They're in the final stages of the interview processes. The names that have been thrown out had been Walter Steenbok, but given that Walter last week launched the Clive Barker Academy, and you know he's forecast.
You don't see him leaving that.
I don't see him. He's still contracted to the association for another 4 years.
I think it was dicey at some point.
Yeah, it was very dicey at some point.
But I think he's staying.
Yeah. So there's also Stump, who was at Frankfurt. How do you pronounce it? Frankfurt.
Eintracht Frankfurt, yes.
Eintracht Frankfurt in the in the Bundesliga. He was the director of football for the youth division of that Bundesliga team. He's also on the short list. They also had Kabelo Busilong, who was at Premier Soccer League. We know he's been a consultant as well, over doing CAF tournaments as well. He's doing big things on the African continent. Made the short list as well.
Do you think Denton Spencer would make for a good TD?
Well, he's not on that short list.
I'm just wondering.
No. Let's look at qualification. For you to be technical director, you must have certain qualification above masters, I think, honors masters. So Dendens was not coaching in the CAF because of...
Yeah, he couldn't sit on the bench because he doesn't have the documentation.
I mean, just doesn't not answer my question. I just wondered, do you think he'd make for
well,
a good
I think
technical
he
director?
answers your question, no.
Okay. He's not qualified.
No, he's not qualified
Okay.
for the TD
Okay.
for the TD role or director of
Okay.
football. Another name that was mentioned was Sean Bishop. Sean Bishop, after leaving Mamelodi Sundowns as the head of the academy, he confirmed to us at sabcsport.com that he was off to Portugal, but somehow he's made it onto the short list. But I don't think he's a top candidate for that as well, because the assumption is that he's held on to his word and moved on to Portugal. So we'll keep a close eye on that. The interviews will take place by the end of September, I'm told. President Andile Zungu wants to name the sporting director for Amazulu to support coach Pablo Franco Martin, who he still has belief in despite not being able to change results at the moment. And then sticking with the DStv Premiership, Molefi Ntseki got his first league win since being appointed head coach of Kaizer Chiefs. But there's been a lot of talking points. We saw Itumeleng Khune was on the bench. A lot of people, after Brendan made possibly some costly errors here and there, people wanted him out, even though he's got the captain's armband. But the coach is backing his number one at the moment.
We are playing as a team, we prepare as a team, and if a player is not having a good game, we always pep him up. That's the reason why we saw Brendan playing every game, despite the mistakes that he was making, because he's our quality goalkeeper. When it comes to him not conceding today, I think it is good for the club, it is good for him, it is good also for the department, the goalkeeping department. But also the defenders played a very big role in making sure that we don't get balls played behind our goalkeeper. And also it was a team effort.
I wonder about Kaizer Chiefs, and please do give us a call. Itumeleng Khune seems to be the go-to guy. Are we saying Itumeleng Khune right now would be the best fit? Because, I mean, that's immediately Petersen makes a mistake, Itumeleng Khune's name comes up. Are we saying that the 36-year-old, and in keeper terms, 36-year-old, not that bad, is the right guy right now? And if so, I'd love to know where you saw Itu in the last season or two where you think that he'd be fit to be the number one keeper again. I'd love to hear it and I'd love to entertain it. Or are we saying that Kaizer Chiefs just needs another keeper, period?
It's like Manchester United and Liverpool. It's based on history, really. It's not. They've not. Or maybe Liverpool have done something the last couple of years, but Manchester United have not done so much the last couple of years, but still regarded as a big club, right? Itumeleng Khune is still regarded as a big player, despite the fact that he hasn't been number one for the last while. He hasn't also played for the national team, even though he's not officially retired from the national team. I think it's the work that he's done. His reputation precedes him. So if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, you think bring back Itumeleng Khune. Also the fact that he did play in those friendly games in pre-season, so that is
still the most confusing thing.
That gave us the idea that Khune could still be in the picture, but as it turns out,
11 games last season. I think 11 games he played in total last season. So I'd love to know, is it those 11 games that have made you feel and think that Itumeleng Khune should still be the number one, or at least in contention of the number one jersey at Kaizer Chiefs? Let's have that conversation, because I see it rises its head every time, be it Akpe the season before, be it Vuma, be it now Petersen. There's a mistake. The Kosi Trust, a large conglomerate of the Kosi Trust, seems to bring up Itumeleng Khune. Let's have that conversation.
Let me move quickly. I'll jump to the Gavin Hunt story, because this is also an interesting topic. You mentioned just now that they have a game in hand, but 5 points from Mamelodi Sundowns, the current league title holders. But Gavin Hunt thinks he's got a formula. Obviously, we know he's a 4-time league winner with SuperSport United 3 times, as well as the now defunct Bidvest Wits. After beating Stellies away from home, Gavin says here is the criteria to what players, or the right mentality that you should have to have players that can win the league for you.
You've got hardware and software. I'd rather have a player with a better software than a hardware, mental strength, because the players will go for you, because they'll play. And if you look at all the top coaches, sometimes you look at a player and you say, he wouldn't have played for Barcelona or Real Madrid, but he plays and they win things because his ability is maybe not as good as, but he's willing to do the things and that makes teams successful, and the team is the most important thing. So I'm very team orientated about how we play with a pattern. We need to get a team playing with the right mentality, and you will achieve things beyond your wildest dreams.
And I've said it before, I think the title race, possibly a 3-horse race between Mamelodi Sundowns, overwhelming favourites, Orlando Pirates as well, SuperSport United. If you look at the squad that they've got, and Coach Gavin Hunt just re-emphasized that point about the type of players he's assembled, even though fairly new, some of them, but they look like they've got championship mentality. Let's wrap it up. Lyle Foster touched a little bit on it, but he did give an interview with the Premier League broadcasters at the end of his first Premier League goal for Burnley when they lost 3-1 to Aston Villa. Here's Lyle reacting to his first Premier League goal yesterday.
It was a difficult game today. We played against very good opposition. I think for us, being a relatively new team, was a bit difficult for us to get into the game in the first 15 minutes. And once we got our foot going, it was just a bit tough that they got the second goal. We got one early in the first half, but unfortunately for us, they got the third. And just a tough day at the office, but we'll bounce back stronger next week. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, glory to God. I'm super happy. I'm super special. Yeah, it doesn't feel as nice not winning, but happy to have scored the first goal back in the Prem. I'm 100% confident. To be fair, I've got all the confidence in the group, in the players, in the staff.
It's great to have a South African raising the flag. Hopefully he's going to pour out into the national team as well. We've got Hugo Bruce naming his squad on Thursday. He'll be sitting with myself and Mazola Mulefe on Thursday to give us his squad. It's 6:36, taking your calls in about 10 minutes from now. Quickly take a break, and then he's here. The principal, Victor Hlungwane. What from the weekend did you see that you weren't happy with as far as the refereeing decisions are concerned? Or maybe something that you are very happy with, you were ecstatic about, that you'd like to share. Please get on to the lines and let us know. 6:38, here he is, the man that South Africa waits for the big decisions. Let's start with it. Vic, which decision do you want to start with?
We're going to Cape Town. Cape Town Spurs are crying that Justice Chabalala might have handled the ball. Yes, it hit the hand. So we just have to establish whether the hand was in a natural or unnatural. Yeah, so
because the ball merely hitting a hand does not mean it's a handball.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's natural or unnatural. So we'll clarify that for Sean Bartlett. Right. We'll move over to the two games. Sundowns, Richards Bay, Cape Town City, and
so what's the answer? Yeah? Was it a handball or not?
Tell us. Did Chabalala handle the ball or not?
No, the hands were in a natural position.
So it's a right call?
It's a right call, yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you left us hanging.
Hey, this man.
Next one is Richards Bay, Sundowns. There's Batoli. How do you pronounce this word?
You did very well there.
Yeah, Batoli.
He's still trying to figure out German words, so you're fine.
I bekafana hambili man wasinda watholi yellow card. That was a threat. We call that serious foul play. Yeah, so
I saw that. I think it was on the touch when he stepped on him.
Yes, almost or referee's optional time.
So you think that was deserving of a red? He shouldn't have been on the pitch.
He should have walked straight red, not even yellow, a straight red for serious foul play. Uzoyibona kahle ku soccer zone, so you beka kahle bayibona ukuthi the stats were used.
And we don't have a review committee for decisions, right? A yellow can never, even after review, be, it doesn't matter how foul the play is, doesn't matter how bad something is. If it's missed within that 90 minutes, that's it.
Referee's decision is final. And then we'll move over to Cape Town City, Khune. Another one. Uwepa, man. Hey, magangena, uyangena, man. Washayini intwana, but then win farmer. Hey, naye lana ngathi no, man. So fancy bega kahle ku soccer zone, good to know. Stats were used. He fall under serious foul play.
Okay.
So he just have to apply the brakes. Then siya Chiefs and Amazulu. Hayi sayibona mass confrontation lana. Lana sobheka ukuthi no uMalepe uthole yellow card, umdansana uthole yellow card, Ethan Brooks angayitholanga. But masesibheka la sithi no naye for showing lack of respect for the game, he should have received his bonus for a yellow card for his behavior on the field of play. And then siya futhi Stellenbosch. Hey umasuluke man bathi ubrush inhloko Tina sina brush in the loss of the game, sina holding an opponent. But the question is, did he touch the ball first, or did he play the ball first, or he played the man? So if he played the man, it's penalty. But if he played the ball first, we call that fair place momentum. So the ball moves very fast. We just have to play it on soccer zone so that we play that slow-mo to check whether his fingertips made contact with the ball first or the man. If it made contact with the man...
But does it not matter the touch? How light the touch is, how hard the touch is?
I find namatand. Holding is holding. Aguna soft holding, medium, haiko. Holding is holding. So if holding prevent an opponent from playing the ball, an offense has been committed.
We'll get into these details, of course, on Soccer Zone, and you'll be able to see it visually as well. 10 o'clock, the three of us will be there. You've got one more?
Yeah, one more. Mangerman, Grant. Yo, Lomutu. He was supposed to get his second yellow card. First, he was involved in mass confrontation, which was yellow. Second one, he did what we call taking one for the team, where he got a yellow card. So the first yellow, the referee decided to speak to him, but Maupega in mass confrontation, we're saying the initiator must get. This man went on to get to score the winning goal and man of the match.
Shouldn't have been on the pitch.
That man should have been.
All I'm hearing is, and I mean, this is after we've spoken to the head of referees. All I'm hearing is a lot, and this is just a couple that we're covering. But all I'm hearing is a lot of bad decisions.
It's not necessarily bad, but we can say
that's three red cards. That's three red cards.
I mean, the referee had that latitude, but now we back. Ngaba kune barking VR bezo advisor better with Hyman. He initiated it. Yeah.
No, guys, we need this VAR thing to get you quicker than what it is, and I don't see it maybe in the next 2 seasons even at the moment. Or we need to do better by our referees.
Yeah, so far this week about influencing my results, but
I mean, if somebody's supposed to get a red card, that's down to 10. That is a big influence on the game and the results.
There's always room for improvement.
What do you give your referees?
This week? Honestly. Last week. Last week for this week I at least I give like 7.8.
Aye, big time.
No,
80.
There are some games that went very well, and
yeah, but be fair. What do you give them?
You see, between 7.9 and 8, mistakes were there. Yes, I fully agree. But we cannot just put them.
That's
at
an extinction.
5. We cannot put them at 5 because 5 now is poor performance. So some did well. We should also acknowledge that.
6 then.
Taking your calls now. It's over to you. From the weekend, what do you want to talk about? I see comments already on the F1. And if you watch the F1, you're maybe like me where you're looking at it and saying, no, man, something is not right here. It just does not make sense how quick that car is. Kobani Poltini says, no ways both Red Bull cars are there's no ways that both Red Bull cars are within the industry regulations. Perez bulldozed everyone to reach the podium also. Pilani sharing that 11 or rather that 9 players that have scored goals in the Premiership. 37 from Benny McCarthy. A record that, hey, is not going to be defeated anytime soon. Lau Foster only scoring is 1. Bulelo Mabisela also on 1. Stephen Peter and Sean Bartlett come the closest, 22 and 24.
But maybe Lyle can do it.
We'll see. He's got time.
WhatsApp the Metro FM studio. 060-527-303.
This is Jimmy from Soshanguve. Yeah, Kaizer Chiefs is Amile, but it's still early to celebrate the next cozy fans. Against Stellenbosch. Yeah, but we are getting there. Just short mola fella. Especially Marate, the previous game disappointed. Nasa switched on. But I in a flop. Nations. The weekend it was.
Thank you, boy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. This is Mr. Explorer. The weekend that was. What a game between Liverpool and Newcastle.
Okay, no, hold on. Pause that.
Also, Manchester.
I need to be ready for it. We know what's coming. So let's go to another one. We'll finish off with it. I need to get mentally ready.
Good evening, Andile.
Hey.
Solomon Malepe, Mo Alexandra. I think as Kaizer Chiefs fans, we don't have to be too excited because Chiefs are going to disappoint the weekend. Because I saw they were not able to complete like 6 or 7 passes, so which means they still had a long. Sharp Kaizer Chiefs. I not complain like I'm Reverie. But they gotta go English Premier League. West no.
Thank you.
Okuningi akubalekile nje okubalekile ukuthi iChiefs sibinile futhi neMan United yonke balekile leyo.
Nje. I support.
Good evening, Andile. Newcastle leading Liverpool 1-0 for the better part of the game, but Liverpool had other ideas. Coming back from behind to beat the Magpies. But anyway, with Liverpool, you never walk alone.
I wonder if Salah's going to go.
Of Thank you, Andile.
Because Moses, you know, they want him in Saudi.
Sure, Andile. Madoda lapha ePalm Springs. Mina ngithi leya moto kaMax yahamba bhuti wami. Yahamba leya moto leya.
But is it within
But
regulation?
I'm happy for Max ne Red Bull. No, Lewis Hamilton bekayenza leyo nto leyo yokudala le bekungakhalwa. I don't know why maseku Max abantu bakhala kangaka bathi F1 yabhora.
I like Lewis.
Leya moto yahamba and it's good for a Red Bull. Ezinye imoto azizame nazo uku-upgrade otherwise anyeke bayithole leya moto. Thank you.
But I wonder, is it within regulation? Let's go to one more before that last one.
What a week it was.
Hey, the weekend that was.
Supporter here, Kasim in Meros Ag. I'm happy for Kaizer Chiefs that they win. I hope this weekend we're gonna have a good game against Kaizer Chiefs. Sundowns against Kaizer Chiefs. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go to it now. Guys, are you ready? Here we go. Play it.
This is Mr. Explorer. The weekend that was. What a game between Liverpool and Newcastle Springboks. Also Manchester United, but yes,
no,
they are
man.
playing badly.
I thought it was our guy.
Why?
Oh, Mr. Mpatlele.
Yes.
It's not Mr. Mpatlele.
Released.
He would have said his name.
Onana is not Manchester United material.
Leave
We don't
Onana
have a
alone,
goalkeeper, we don't have strikers, and the midfield, we don't have an anchorman.
So we
Thank
don't have
you,
a team,
Mr.
basically.
This is Mr. Explorer. Nice show as always. Timmy Maranda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Explorer, man. I thought it was
Mr. Mpatlele.
What's his name? Parfuris Mpatlele or something. I like Mr. Mpatlele from Timbisa, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought that was him. But nonetheless, Mr. Mpatlele, we miss you. Let's go to your calls now. Starting with Lesiba. Lesiba is always, as per usual, wanting to talk to the referee. He's here. He's for you. Go straight into it.
Okay, now
Good evening. Stepana, you know what, for me, the referees in the PSL, please advise them not to get into the scuffle with the players. One day someone is going to get a feast. Let them stand aside and find who is the culprit so that they can deal with them live and direct.
What do you mean? Like, what do you say?
It's a good point. Angithi bayalwa la basithi mass confrontation. So bayalwa lana. So manje ureferee makangena ufana ngena ngetiming. Mina bengangeni especially
But faneka ngene.
No.
You can't just leave the scuffle be.
No. Akuna law that ungena la.
What is the law?
KZN mawungena uzobuya phansi.
But hold on. I just want to know from a playbook point of view, from a ref's book, what is the rule when there is a scuffle? What must the referee do? Because we see the referee acting as the referee in a boxing match, perhaps.
Yes.
Separating the players.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stefan.
Yes.
You will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a referee. I'm just a soccer fan.
Yes.
For me, the referee should just stand aside with his assistant
and observe.
And the culprit so that he can, even if he dishes 10 yellow cards, that is against the law.
No, Lesiba, you have a point. The referee makangena, he must have good timing. If it's one-on-one, you can quickly grab one umbe side. But if there are many there, chances are now ungatoli pachung has good develop.
But what are the rules? What are the laws? What is your training?
The rule says the referee must be able to prevent problems.
No. I'm not asking about preventing problems. There's a problem now.
What
is the rule?
The rule is you have to prevent problems. So now, if preventive,
But there's
a problem already. What is the rule?
Then you must act on the problem.
So then you must separate them.
Yes. But in separation, you must have your good timing.
You can't teach timing. Thank you so much, Lisiwe. Let's go to Bonkos. He's out in Soweto. Wants to speak about Petersen, please. Nonko na manuti ngo Petersen.
Ndikhona bhuti wami yazi uPetersen xa ulazi ibhola uPetersen for Chiefs is the best goalkeeper uyabona like abantu bona imistake ezenzile angeke usebenze 20 years masithathe nje family yakho usebenze 20 years kokwenu then nge 1 year kuthiwa useless uPetersen ujonga ibhola ezingenileyo ujonga ibhola savezileyo ube ngomjaja weba uPetersen ungolkeeper enjani because if Chiefs can change their goalkeeper and then put another goalkeeper in the goalkeeper department that they have, you will see a lot of goals coming against them.
Well, he has been solid as far as keeping balls out. I mean, at some point, I remember, I think it was Rolando Mukwena who said he deserved man of the match because of how many goals that he did stop. So there is a point that you're making there, Bonkos, about Petersen. Thank you so much, out in Soweto. Let's go to Tebogo. Tebogo's in Turfloop and also wants to speak about the goalkeeping department at Chiefs.
Khune should remain in the number 1 spot.
Tell me why.
Let's look at Petersen in terms of with Abandamabon, hold, and then let's look at Khune. Khune knows when to attack and then he's very vocal. He knows how to control his defense up to the starting point. And he knows who can I attack with or who can slow the game down. You understand? So Petersen, whenever he gets the ball, then the next thing he throws it down and then, okay. My mistakes now, and those are schoolboy mistakes, man. I mean... look at the entire games that he played. He costed us, I think it's about, 6 points?
Let me ask you this. Yes, he conceded and he made mistakes. But how many goals did he actually prevent?
I didn't look much into it.
So you didn't look at the positives he did. You looked at all the negatives. Okay, fine.
The positive side, I've looked at them. I wanted to say something in terms of comparison with him and...
Let's go to Khune then. Let's go to Khune because you think Khune is the one. When last did you see Khune? The Khune that you're speaking about now, when did you see that? When was it when you saw that?
I looked at him on the thing. What was this last game, what we call the pre-season.
And they won those games?
I didn't want. They didn't want. Remember, he was substituted.
Oh, so when he was in goals, that was when they were best.
Second.
So I'm saying, you feel like when Khune was in goal, they were best. They were better then.
Yeah, they were better because now you play from the goal line. You don't just play from your defense. You start in the goal line. You understand? So
I can't argue with you, Tebogo. I mean, I think your opinion is valid, but thank you very much for that.
And the last thing, the new broom seems better, but the old broom knows all the corners.
Oh, there you go. New broom sweeps better, but the old broom knows all the corners. Lunga, out in Rudaport, wants to talk about the rugby. Lunga, are we ready?
Yeah, a weekend that was,
Hey, man, what a weekend with the Springboks.
Give them the World Cup already, Lunga.
Simbiza Nkululeko.
Yeah. Look, so
Bafentate, yeah.
But why not with your Carabao Shave and then National and with your guy? Our guy was elite, bro.
They must give it to us already.
Yeah, give it to us already.
You know, I was worried about Lucanio Abra, like I said, this guy, like injury, you know. I was so worried, but I saw, like, sometimes if other players given a chance, now, but they want to win, you know, and like that fire in them, which you know what, given a chance, yeah, you know, like, you know, face like a 30 star, like, so the display that was displayed over the game against New Zealand, no.
I haven't heard him say that this season, though. Lunga, thank you very much. Out in Road Report. Thank you. Let's go to Spongaleni as per usual. Lematafeni wants to speak about the Chiefs and Amazulu game. Go for it.
Evening, Maha.
Yebo.
All right, God, I'm gonna.
The
weekend that was, Maha.
The weekend that was.
Hey, I was at FNB Stadium on Saturday, all the way from Kaizer. Hey.
Oh, I love to hear it.
Yeah, I think as much as I don't like to criticize every time, but I think the decision for Mr. Zungu to go outside of the country to look for a coach to coach a team like AmaZulu, I'm not too sure if it was a good decision or what, but everyone needs to be given a chance, you know. We have to wait and see maybe the result. As much as I won't be specific, but I think someone who know the culture of the team, who know the culture of the DSTV Premiership should have been a better option. But let's give the man a chance. It's still too early. Maybe we'll get everything right, you know.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
Yes. Then coming to Kaizer Chiefs.
Very quickly, go for it.
Yes. As much as they won the game on Saturday, but I was not convinced. I think they should get someone who is a strong defensive midfielder, and then get a top striker. That's all.
Guys, you've just signed a striker. You've signed
Castillo.
No, not Castillo, man. In terms of a striker, the guy with the long name,
Gonzalez.
I struggle with the surname. I struggle with the surname.
Castillo,
I've got to go, Spoken. I've got to go, unfortunately. I'm sorry, my brother. Sinong, you've got 30 seconds. Faith says she's been kind because it's a Monday. Go for it.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Manchester United and then Chelsea on their win over the weekend.
We are united.
Premier League is very, very, it's going to be tough this season. It's close.
It's not going to be tough. Man City will win it, but okay, go on.
They won, but it's not that convincing, see. And then Arsenal, I think, I'm not so convinced about
Sinong, you must get your headache tablets as usual.
No, the tactics that he's trying to use, I think he's overdoing these tactics. Now it's going to cost us the league, Andile.
What do you mean cost you the league? You never had it. You'll never have it.
No, this is it. We were expected to win it. Actually, we were supposed to win it, not expected to. But the way he's doing it...
Sinong, if they win, you can be a caller that speaks for 10 minutes, okay? If they win, you can, every time you call, you'll speak as long as you want, if they win.
Okay, thank you,
That's our deal, Sinong. Thank you so much. All of us in suits on our way to Soccer Zone, 10 o'clock this evening. Let's get into more stories that Mazola's got that were not spoken about here. And, of course, the moments that we spoke about here and a lot more visually on television. Join us, 10 o'clock, SABC1, Soccer Zone. Pela.